We've always wanted to interview Israel and Maria Folau to hear their side of the story, to find out how they coped through a tumultuous period and what effect it had on their faith and on their marriage and family. It's never been fully told. So in July, we travelled to Australia and sat down with both of them at their home in Brisbane. An exclusive interview with Family First New Zealand. For the very first time, you get to hear their side of the story. Israel and Maria, we really appreciate making yourself available for the Forum on the Family. I've been trying to get this interview for probably about 4 years. You've agreed now to do the interview, and I guess my first question is, why now? What's changed? What's given you the freedom to speak up, do you think?
It's always been on our heart to want to talk about that whole situation and what we've gone through and what we stand for, which is what's most important for us, but also the right platform in order to share our experiences and what's so important to us.
Maria, is it taking this long to hear, what do you think?
For us, for me, it was more of a trust thing. We've been approached by, what would you say?
Mainstream media.
Yeah, mainstream media. But none of them guaranteed us full editorial rights, so that was just a no-brainer for us. Yeah. We support you and what you do and what you guys all stand for, and we thought, it's been 6 years now since it all happened, and when you approached us, we jumped at the opportunity, really.
Look, you said 6 years. When I travel around New Zealand, I tell people it was actually 8 years ago it started. It was in 2017 during the same-sex marriage debate in Australia. We'd had it in New Zealand. You were having your plebiscite, or your referendum as we call it. And Izzy, you posted a lovely tweet that just said you love and respect all people, but you will not support gay marriage. Yeah. That really was the time when you became public enemy number one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That was, I think a lot of people tend to forget that was probably the start of that whole situation with Rugby Australia. And it was actually I was voicing my opinion, it was from my heart. And at that time, being a Christian, and I thought it was so important to voice that, and having a public platform to really stamp my where I stand, and it's still the same now. We still have that love for people, and that was my heart. I just didn't agree with the way that these sporting organisations were heading in Australia. They had the Yes Vote campaign, and it was something that
yes for gay marriage.
So and that was something that was happening within the sporting environments, and I, being a Christian, I didn't want to stand for that.
Did you feel like the blowback happened then as much?
When I sent that tweet out, there was a lot of backlash, probably more so than what I had expected, and it was just the start of things, and it hung around for a little bit, and then it sort of blew over. But I did get a few warnings from Rugby Australia, to toe the line on what to say, or certain things as people know. I just didn't want to be restricted or controlled around those things, especially when it comes to my beliefs around the Bible and standing up for that.
Maria, did you see the red flags then? Because, there was a story in the New Zealand papers saying, Maria Tutaya and Israel Folau share pictures from their controversial wedding. It was controversial because it was a man and a woman, apparently.
Yeah, very, very controversial.
So did you see what was coming? Because there was another article by the Daily Mail. They said here, from a fairy tale wedding and glittering netball career to being viciously attacked by trolls, how the controversial wife of Israel Folau risks losing it all as she stands by her husband.
Oh, gosh, geez. Far out. That sounds a bit hairy hard out.
Oh, it's dramatic. The media were all over it.
Absolutely.
So when I sent that tweet out, I remember it was
a
day.
Was that Canberra? I remember. Oh,
I was playing the next day.
Yeah, that's right.
For the Silver Ferns.
The Wallabies were playing Argentina the next day in Canberra, so you were actually there.
That's right. I flew, and I was thinking, mate, do I need to carry a knife in my bag? Because I was getting just the death threats of doom from everyone, left, right and centre. And I remember jumping on the plane and you walk in, it was a 3x3 seater, so it was a small plane, and I was flying from Sydney, I think.
Yeah.
So it was a domestic flight, and as soon as I walked in, past the air hostesses, it was like zoom, because everyone, I presume everyone knew who I was, that I was his wife. And when the
Screens
come down, Izzy's face was all over it, and I'm sitting there in the plane just going lower and lower, because they were showing the news, and because you headline the news like every 24/7. For that whole year, 29 or 27.
So this is 2017.
2017,
So this is before the Helming.
Yes. Yeah, it was. For me, because I was still really new in the faith then, I just got baptised early in 2017. So I was still, I was always going to support Izzy regardless, and I would always tell him whether he was right or wrong, but that was something I was still learning. I thought that was the end of everything. I didn't think it was going to get any worse than that.
Because it was interesting watching the New Zealand media, because in some ways they loved you as a Silver Fern. You were scoring the goals, winning the World Cups for the Silver Ferns, and yet at the same time you were associated with this Maria Folau, and you actually saw the struggle that the media were having with that. And of course then comes out the infamous Helming. And drunks, homosexuals, adulterers, liars, fornicators, thieves, atheists, idolaters, they need to repent. I really just wanted to ask you, we know who was upset by this, but were you contacted by any drunks, adulterers, liars, fornicators, thieves, atheists and idolaters?
No, I didn't hear from anyone that had that problem or struggled with that.
So just tell us about why you posted this. Where did you get it? What made you do it? And did you have any inkling of the firestorm that was going to result from posting this?
Well, I had no idea. I had no idea that as I was about to post this post, that I was going to get my contract terminated. That was the truth. But I just felt really convicted in my heart to really share that, and it is confronting when you see that, and it's like, wow, that's not a really feel good message, or doesn't give you any a warm feeling. But the truth, it's the truth, and I just wanted to. That was my heart around that. But I always share this. A couple of months before I actually posted that, I was praying and asking God to really put me in a position to test my faith. And I always
dangerous prayer.
Yeah, it's a dangerous prayer, and I tell
Can
everyone.
you ask me next time you pray that?
I always say to people, just be careful what you ask for. It's but I really genuinely meant that, and when I prayed that prayer.
How did you think God would answer it when you asked? You wanted to be bold with your faith. How did you think He was asking you to be bold?
I didn't think much of it. My mind didn't come to a situation like this. I never thought that I'd be put in a position where my career would be on the line. It just never crossed my mind. But
also the vilification. I mean, it's not only the career, it was the vilification as well. I mean, as part of it, you also added basic gospel messages. Those that are living in sin will end up in hell unless you repent. Jesus Christ loves you. It's the message that is preached from most biblical church pulpits these days. But they only focused on the one word, well, two words, hell and homosexual, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Maria, did you know that meme was going to be posted, and what was your response?
I had no idea. Had absolutely no idea. We were at the gym. We were at Sydney Uni working out. All of a sudden, your phone was going off by, colleagues, and they were just calling a lot.
To support or to...
No, to take the post down. So, Izzy, you spoke to your manager and you told him, no, I'm not going to take the post down. And I remember, because we were in the car, so it was on Bluetooth and you could hear everything, and his manager was saying, they're going to terminate you. And you said, then so be it. But I've told them I wasn't going to compromise. I made it clear to Raylene and to the board that... I'm an employee of the Wallabies, but you also re-signed too, and told them that if you if you want to re-sign me, I'm just not going to compromise. That's just how it is. And so they re-signed you. And so that was your messaging to your manager, was
That's
that
right.
I already told them that I was going to compromise. So if they want to terminate me, then terminate. And we know what happened after that. So obviously going to court and that stuff. So,
but were you thinking, Maria, we really
I
don't need
was
this?
like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, what is this post? I jump online, I look at it, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, what's wrong with that? Like, that's a biblical message. And Izzy's heart is always for, like, we know following God, it's not just about our own walk, it's about others, serving others as well. And so when I saw it, I didn't, it was a powerful message, but also I can understand why people got immensely offended. And at that time, no one was coming out and saying anything about same-sex marriage and stuff. So you were the first one. So it was, for me, I was like, oh my gosh. Buckle up, we are in for a ride. And
so Israel, what do you say to people who would say, look, it may be biblical, but it's too confrontational, it's not loving? What's your response to that?
Well, I would say that's untrue. I think the most loving thing that a Christian can share is exactly that, is the message of the gospel and that what the gospel is all about. Sometimes it's really confronting, and the truth is. But what I didn't want to do is affirm people that the lifestyle that they were living in, or if they had troubles or challenges with those things, is that affirming that that's okay to stay in there. That would be the most unloving thing to do. The reason why I'm really passionate about Jesus is because I used to live a lifestyle that was exactly that. And so when I share this message, I tell people that I struggle with those things. I actually, was a big on alcohol, drugs, all these sorts of things that I understood when I was doing it week in, week out. It didn't give me the satisfaction that you think it would, and it wasn't until I encountered Jesus that he gave me a purpose and fulfillment that was, or peace that this world can't give you, as the word says. I've lived this lifestyle, but Jesus has saved me from that, and he can do the same thing for you. We got to be honest and upfront with confronting the lifestyle sin that we're in, order for us to be saved from that, and you got all these pressures from society and culture and that, but it's so important for a Christian to stand strong and be bold and not be ashamed of who you represent.
I mean, the interesting thing is that probably every Sunday there's pastors, ministers, church leaders who are preaching that exact gospel, and it's not offensive, there's not a media blowback, and there's not contracts being lost.
That's right.
But you did, because it was in the public sphere. I'm interested to know, was there support coming out? Because a lot of your colleagues, sports colleagues, they would have the faith. Did you feel the support, or did you really feel like everyone ran for cover?
Yeah, I felt there was verbal support, but I don't know whether it was genuine or not at the time, because I guess when everything all broke out, there was so much happening around us, and we were so consumed with the media storm. Just everything was just all about what was happening with us. And so I knew within the team there was support from teammates and that. And during that time, I think, having the lawyers that we did at the time, they'd asked us if we would see if the boys would support us, because Rugby Australia can't sack, let's say, 8 or 9 of us, so, and that was hard for me, because I didn't want to ask on my behalf, because to me, standing up for Christ or your faith in him is a personal thing, and for me to ask them, I felt like I was almost putting them in a position to say yes, and I didn't want to do that. So in the end, I understood that there was contracts and livelihoods on the line, but it was their personal conviction that was going to tell them to say yes, And in the end, I made that. We had a conversation about it.
so I asked.
So
I asked one of the senior players in the Wallabies. It was a difficult conversation for me to have as well, because, again, exactly what Izzy was saying, there's livelihoods on the line. And at that time when I asked and nothing happened, I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed. My heart was so darkened because I was like...
So they say they have the faith, but they aren't willing to
but then
up.
also, Izzy being Izzy, this is, there's always like... opposites do attract, because he's just so loving and always sees the bright side of everything.
You wanted to patch things up.
Oh man, no, I just was like, come on guys, like... this is your mate, but also you don't have to come out and say you believe in the same thing, but you believe that Izzy has the right to believe in what he wants to believe in. But then obviously nothing had happened, and Izzy just reminded me that, like, because I was saying to you, oh, these guys are fake Christians, like, don't run on the field and do this and like have the cross on your thing, like, and you're not even like your mate is standing up for Jesus, like, come on guys. Again, Izzy reminded me throughout everything that was happening was that everyone's faith is different. Their journey is different to ours. Yeah. I was just trying to rally up the boys to, like...
Have some backbone.
Have some backbone, And but then as time has gone by, we always talk about it. We were supposed to go through it alone. Yeah. This was something that God ordained for Izzy and I to go through. I guess it would have been different had we had support from the other Wallabies boys. Yeah. And it was hard to watch you, like, I know you wanted to be at the World Cup and I know you wanted to play for Australia and for the team, but when they were playing Wales, I think it was the quarterfinal, I was texting one of the wives and she was checking in to see how Izzy was, and I was watching the game. Izzy was in the room and he was reading his Bible and you had the biggest smile on your face. And I said to you, like, the boys are playing, do you want to come watch? And he's like, oh, no, I just want to spend some time with God. And I text that to her, and she was just blown away by, you could have gone the other way. He could have gone and drunk, you could have gone and cursed all the boys or but you were so supportive of them. You prayed and read the Bible, and you were just so, this is the path and the journey that God has put us in. You prayed that prayer, which next time can you let me know? Just to give me a heads up.
But Maria, in the quiet, was there a time when you just wanted to say to Izzy, just pull it down, let the thing go away?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Of course. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm a devout Christian wife. I was. No, I was. Yeah. So every Mondays we had to fly to Melbourne. We're on the red-eye flight, 6 a.m. to meet our lawyers, and we were obviously in the media all the time, and every flight, every airport travel was just... I just felt like everyone was on us, holding hands. We just had our head down and just went straight to the gate, sit there. People that we're sitting next to, in front of us, behind us, you could just tell, like, they just wanted to either glass us in the face or something. It was just one of those things where I was just so tired. I was playing as well. I was playing for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, so I had to perform on the court. I had, people in Netball Australia who, I think she was, I'm not sure whether she was in Netball Australia, but I think she was a commentator at the time, I guess, wanted to get me out of the competition because I was supporting my husband, which is really bizarre. Hey, who supports their husband? It's really... So, it was just all that pressure. Like, I knew every missed shot it'd be... it's because she can't handle, all this, we're getting on her. Like, every time I would run out on the court, I was booed. I had to, like, after the games, boost it to the car just in case, someone would do something to me. I just got really tired of that. I got sick of living in my apartment, not being able to go outside for some fresh air because we knew paparazzi were outside. And I told him, like, okay, I'm done. Like, can you just take it down? Be rid of this whole legal situation. Let's apologise and get on with our life.
And what did your loving husband say?
Hell no. What are you, nuts? No way. And I knew,
And what was
like,
your response to that?
divorce? No. We have the papers to speed dial my lawyer? No. I knew it was probably one of the stupidest things I've ever said, to be honest, because.
No, but it just shows how hard it was, how challenging it was. And out of the whole thing, that was the hardest thing for me was seeing Maria go through that, and then also, for her being my wife, and then having to play at the same time. It was a lot of pressure to handle. I didn't care about the media storm, it didn't bother me, people looking at me, staring at me, saying stuff to me when we go out in public. That was hard, but it wasn't as hard as watching your wife closely and how she really felt on the inside, and just the challenges that she had to face. At the time, I wish I could have just taken all that weight off her and carried it for her. But the fruit that we had received out of that whole situation, and what God had taught us and built within inside of us in our character, is something that we would have never gotten from not going through it.
You see, from my angle, it looked like, and to our shame, I think that a lot of Christians and a lot of Christian leaders ran for cover. They saw the response, they saw the media pile on, and I think, in fairness, we deserted you. Did you feel like that?
I certainly felt like that. Within Australia, I certainly felt as if the church just sat back and just let things go and watched things unfold. And I felt as if there was not much support at all.
Yeah.
Which should be the opposite, actually, because we as a church should be that light that is to go out and stand for Christ and have an impact within the world. But at the time, I just felt that they were more so worried about the backlash or what things that might come back against them than standing for the truth. And that to me was sad. When I look back at the events when it unfolded, it's really sad that I felt that's how the church reacted. Now as time's gone on, it's a little bit different now.
Well, I think you've given them some backbone and boldness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, a lot of Christians were saying to us, what you had questioned before was...
Be more loving in your message.
Yeah, you need to be more loving.
Well, it's what Raylene Castle told you, wasn't it? You can quote the Bible, but it only need the nice bits.
Yeah, that's right. And I said, I accept the full Bible, not just the nice parts of the Bible. I cannot just quote the nice parts that make people feel warm and fuzzy. When I read the Bible, it convicts myself of certain things that maybe I need repentance of.
Yeah.
And that's what it's there for, And for me to say the full truth, I need to share things that I believe that God has put on my heart to share. And I'm not in control of people's reactions or emotions.
Yeah.
But as long as God sees the position of our hearts, that's most important. I believe that God will do the rest.
So it seems like the actual tactic is not necessarily it's about Israel, it's about saying that anybody who quotes biblical truths, we will come after you and we will send a chilling effect so nobody else wants to follow down your track. Does that sort of make sense? Did it feel like that they were using you to basically say to all of Christendom, don't quote the Bible, we don't want to hear it?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt that. I think especially after that, talking to people, my teammates or people within the public, a lot of them agree with us. They just were too scared to voice it because they saw what happened to us, and that was, I believe, part of the tactic that the enemy uses, which is, same-sex marriage to try and scare the church into not voicing what the truth is. If you do that, you're going to get the same treatment as Israel and Maria, and that's what it is. But I think for the church, it's so even more so important to stand up, but not be divided. To stand up in unity as a church and just go on the truth.
At the height of the storm, I think I saw you mention that some of the social media, these are from people who are preaching diversity, equity and inclusion, and yet what they were saying about you, what they're saying about Izzy, was just vile, it was aggressive, it was threatening. that must have been, that must have really dug deep. I mean, is that what you say when you talk about the knives in the back all the time?
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. Like,
They're preaching diversity and inclusion, and yet none
absolutely. It was just hard. Like, how do I even describe it? You know, we got an email with someone with a gun emoji and said some other stuff like, we're going to kill you and all this, you know, death threats, we hope your children go to hell, we hope they burn. We didn't have children at that time, but we still get it now anyway. But I think because I'm just so used to it now, but back then it was rough. It was full on. Like, I had no choice but to go to God. Like, I was at that point where, you know, I was still new in the faith, and Izzy was just such a great example for me to believe, but also action as well, because, I mean, he could have gone the other way. And I say that because I know everyone else would have gone the other way, you know, in terms of like alcohol. You could have not text your friends that were texting you, not that there was many that text you at the time anyway. But I just see that the model of like love and compassion and forgiveness, and that was his messaging to me the whole time. And so for me, even though I was like going down the dark path, just watching him every day just really brought light in my heart and in my mind, and that Jesus, wow, this guy really does believe in God. I'm going to give it a go. I have nothing else to go to, and I'm so thankful that I did, because it brought me to this. Yeah.
But then something amazing happened, because you did a fundraiser for legal fees, and I mean that response. I mean, how did that feel? You know,
we were
millions
crying.
raised, people just from all around the world wanting to contribute.
Yeah, what you call those silent supporters, you know, like, and we knew that through the donations of towards the legal case. And I think the outrage from the public or the community or the silent supporters, you saw that through when they took the GoFundMe down, and then the ACL stepped in and they took over, and the people's voices were heard through their giving, you know. And so we knew that when we run into people in the streets, they would come up to us and, you know, we support you, we're right behind you, and so we knew that we weren't alone. But in saying
so you were getting both. You were getting both the vilification and the support.
Yeah, we were getting both.
Well, at that time, I guess at that time it felt more vilification. But as time went on, like we're 6 years down the track now we even believers and non-believers who always stop us wherever we go, and more so the believers who believe, and then the unbelievers who are just tired of being told what to do or what to believe, or what their children should be learning at school, and
just all the woke stuff.
All the woke stuff.
If you were in front of Raelene Castle now, what would you say to her?
Look, when I go back in time, I think we could have probably done things a little bit differently. Maybe sat down and had a bit more time to really discuss both our views, my views and her views from organisational point of view. Like I said, I've made it public that I have no animosity towards her and the decision that she had to make. I could easily sit down with her right now and have a conversation with her. And
Maria, you're not quite as complimentary, are you?
Oh, mate, I've had so many conflicting views about, you know, that if I were
the whole contract process.
Just the whole contract process. Like, even just Rugby Australia sending the wrong contract, you know, that didn't have the special social media clause. And that was such a key point, you know, in that whole ordeal, was that these were the type of people we were dealing with Rugby Australia. Was that, one, you told Raelene multiple times that you weren't going to compromise. Two, they sent the wrong contract, which you signed the first contract and then they rung again
they asked
saying,
to
hey, I'm
change.
sorry, we sent you the wrong contract. We missed the social media clause. We're going to send it to you. Can you sign? And you said, no, that's the contract you've sent me and that's the contract I've signed, so I'm not re-signing. There was supposed to be
special
was a
clause or whatever,
him,
conditions, as you say, but there was nothing. I had a standard contract, same as everyone else.
So that's the part of the story that you think never got told fairly.
Yeah, absolutely, because people just thought that, they took things out of context. I was coming off contract. People quote that I said that, like, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, then I'm happy to walk away. But that was on the basis that I was off contract and I was about to re-sign. So Raylene then decided to give me a new contract and didn't put any special conditions within that contract in terms of the social media. So that wasn't really reported. It was just people the media, mainstream media were reporting, he's breached the contract and X, Y and Z, but that wasn't true. So
Anything in the process that you wish you'd done slightly different?
I don't have any.
I don't have any regrets. I did mention earlier that things could have been different. It's not a regret. I just wish I had more time to really slow down with Rugby Australia and talk things through.
It was a firestorm, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It went
the media.
so quick.
the media.
Yeah, we had to make decisions on the spot.
The media were throwing petrol on the whole thing.
And I say that the media was the one that created, made it bigger than what it actually was, and put a lot of pressure on both Rugby Australia and everyone else. So, but yeah, I think if we did have a bit more time, it could have been a little bit different. But in saying that, I have no regrets at all.
See, and what I found interesting was that you didn't back off. I noticed that you were still posting memes. Do you believe in the right of Australians to practice their religion without fear of discrimination in the workplace? You posted a meme of Galatians 1:10, are you seeking the approval of man or God? You didn't back off, so it seemed like that you were still standing strong on your faith.
I would say for the Christians, it's not a nice thing to go through, but just know that when you are being said negative things about you, it's because you're in the truth, that's the most important thing.
And to stand firm.
Yeah.
Like, I love Jesus, I love the Bible, I love his teaching.
You're not quite at the Daniel in the lion's den.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, honestly, like, you're going to be fine. With Christ, you will be fine.
But that's the thing, Maria, right? I think people do look at what you did and it does give them backbone. See, because I'd suggest to you, Israel, that the Manly Seven, when they refused to wear the pride shirt, they knew the blowback they were going to get and the death threats, because we've interviewed them for a previous conference.
Right.
So they knew it was coming. But I think what you did was you stiffened their spine because you were willing to be bold. Does it feel like that you've stiffened some people's spines? Have you been told that?
Yes, we've been told that a lot of times actually, and I believe a big reason why we had to go through what we had to go through is to encourage other believers. It's just part of the assignment that I believe God has had on us. And when we saw that play out, those guys saw what happened to us, but it's something about uniting in in numbers. That Manly was never going to sack 7 of them, what I mean? I don't want to take any credit because I know God's just used us as examples or vessels for that. And we're here now and we get to talk about it and try and encourage other believers.
Has there been a tipping point, do you think, in our culture where in some ways you were the sacrificial lamb, but it's turning and people are finding their voice again?
Yeah, absolutely. I see that within sports within Australia, and there's a couple of athletes that we follow in both rugby league and rugby union, and they're proud Christians, and they're not ashamed to come out publicly and say, I love Jesus, and they're talking about it. They're actually showing, guys pray together, and it's like becoming a lot more normal, And
so how's the media reacting to that?
Yeah, well, there's no sort of pushback towards that. Well, what I've seen anyway. So I think, I hate trying to point things back to us, but as you mentioned earlier, being the sacrificial lamb, I think it's really given those guys a bit more encouragement to stand up and just be bold for Christ.
And those guys have also texted you as well to say thanks for doing, what you did. So,
just the impact.
Just the impact, really,
Maria, you said a really powerful thing, that you realised that God had called you to do this alone, the two of you. When did you come to that point? Because that must have been quite both an empowering but also a freeing but also a bit of a scary thought, realisation as well.
Yeah, well, I did make a covenant with God when I said that I would marry.
At your controversial wedding of a man and a woman.
Controversial wedding, oh gosh. Anyways, I was again we were going through all that stuff, and I just had enough, and I was sitting in the car and I was going to a cafe, and on the street that I had parked on, there was no left or right turn. Anyways, I said in the car, Lord, I cannot do this. I'm done. Can you just be rid of this situation? You were in Sydney at the time, eh?
Yeah, I was.
And then I got out of the car, was walking to the cafe, and I met this English guy, and he stopped me and he said, you need to bask in God's love. And I was like...
Just
like that.
Just like that. And I asked him, you must know who my husband is. Do you know who I am? And he was like... No, I said, Maria Folau. He goes, no, never heard of him. I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to the hospital. The hospital was that way, the opposite way. Anyways, I passed him. I turned around like within seconds and he was gone. And I truly do believe that God sends angels in human form. And he was there to remind me that, like, you're going to be okay. Like, I chose you to stand next to this man and go through the storm and this fire, and you will do that, and I'll be with you all the way. You'll be fine. And so your question, that was when I knew, like,
that we had to go
through this together, and that he had chosen me before I was born, that this was going to happen, and that you were going to marry Izzy, and this was your life. Was to follow me, go through a bit of persecution here and there, but also bask and enjoy the fruits and the love of Jesus. So,
I asked on my social media, I said to people that I was going to be interviewing you for our conference, and I said, what question would they like to ask you? I'd like some quick fire questions.
Go for it.
One of the key ones was, would you do it again knowing the blowback?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We've got asked that question many a times before, and I would say yes, because of how close we grew to the Lord during that time, in times of persecution. As I said earlier, the fruit that we got out of that, I often think of James 1 verses 2 about count it all joy when you are faced with various trials or challenges, because of what it produces within your faith, and so... yeah, I'll definitely do it all over again, definitely.
And is it still over? Because, we made contact last year because there was this article where you played at Twickenham Barbarians, and apparently every time you scored a try, the whole crowd booed. And I went and listened to the audio of the actual thing and found actually they were cheering and they're having a great time, and there was a little venter mob in the corner. Does it feel like it's over? Do you feel like you can just get on with your life, or is it's always going to be there? I mean, it's part of the reason you're in Japan, playing in Japan today, of the day of the conference, and it's also the reason, like, they were considering for you to play against the Lions, weren't they? And recently, but yeah, there's still a cloud over you. Is that cloud ever going to go, do you think? And does it matter?
I think the cloud will go if we apologise. I think that was the main thing. That was the issue with everything that was happening, was that we didn't back down. And it's not about backing down, but it's about believing in what you believe. Oh man, there's so many encounters that we've had that Jesus has showed us that he is there. And even though it's funny when we see people for the first time in a long time, they're like, oh, how have you guys been? Are you guys okay? And we're like looking at them like, mate, we're so good. Seriously, bro, we are as good at, like, this. I love my life. Like, we are so blessed with our beautiful children. Our family are healthy. We are just living the best life that we're living.
There was one other question which was asked by someone on our social media to ask you, but I've seen it come up a lot of times. I've been asked it as well. And it's this. What would you do if your child came to you and said that they were gay?
Well, me personally, and I believe
we talk
you'd,
about this. Yeah.
you'd agree. We'd affirm obviously our love for them because it's obviously still our children, but we would obviously state from a biblical point of view that what they're engaged in is actually a sin, and we wouldn't want you guys to go down the path of going down that. So, like any parent would, if their child was troubled with drugs or alcohol, it's the same thing, So we would definitely, our love wouldn't change for them. Our love would be the same. From a biblical point of view, we would state the truth to them and try and help them through whatever their struggle is.
Like what Izzy said, I would reaffirm to my child that we would love them regardless, and not even just our children, everyone whom we encounter. But I also do believe in, the power of prayer. And I'm not saying like conversion therapy or whatever.
Can't ban conversion, can you?
Exactly. But I believe in prayer. I believe in fellowship. I believe in teaching your children and showing the light as well at the same time. That, if my child was gay, I would love them. I would call out the sin. And I would just pray.
Okay, I need you to really ram down some backbone into everybody that's watching right now.
Yep.
That is, what advice would you give someone who thinks they need to speak up publicly for the faith, but they know that there's going to be consequences and they, could be tough consequences?
I'm really inspired by the story in the Bible about Daniel in Babylon, and it says that he purposed in his heart, meaning he made a decision already in his heart that he wasn't going to defile his body and partake in the king's food and wine. And so what I would say to Christians out there is, before that fire comes, just know it's going to come. Like one way or another, it's going to come. Just make a decision already within your heart, because if it comes, you can't just turn up and say, I'm going to stand for God. You have to make a decision early before it actually comes to you. But I would say for the Christian, you can never go wrong by standing up and doing what's right, even in the midst of the fire.
I guess for me, the only thing that I would question is, how strong is your faith? Do you truly believe in the word and the fullness of it, not just the nice warm fuzzy bits that Jesus is love and everything? It's the parts where it really condemns you, conflicts you. In your conscience, you're like questioning, oh gosh, is this, do I want to follow this? Do I want to live this life that is set apart from everyone else? That's the cost that you pay for walking with God. And like as he said, when a situation does arise, and it will, are you going to stand firm and follow the teachings of God, or are you going to fold to the world? That would be my only question. And if you find yourself not choosing the way of God and folding, so to speak, you will regret it. You just have to endure and just believe and just know that like Jesus will never leave you nor forsake you. You have to really truly believe that. You cannot go wrong with Christ.
Do you think if you posted that meme today, that there would be the same reaction? Do you like the theme of our conference is a cultural tipping point? Like we're starting to figure out actually a woman is an adult human female. We're starting to realise that drag queens performing in front of kids isn't right. We're starting to see the consequences of confusing gender in marriage and other things. So do you think by posting a Bible verse these days that there would still be the same fallout?
I think the reaction would be different. As I said earlier, I think now that even non-believers, people that don't even believe that God exists, are now sick of the wokeness of things, and they just they can see how wrong that is, So I think the reaction will be a lot different.
Yeah, like what as he said, I think people were just sick of being forced. Because in schools, like some parents don't have the right to say yes or no to what their children are being taught at school. I just don't like being told what to do. I don't believe in that as well, but because everyone has a right to believe in what they believe in. I think one of the things is like role models. Like a lot of we got thrown that a lot was, oh, you're a role model, you should know better, you should do better. But for starters, like all athletes say this, is that I never asked to be a role model. Like I'm just a netball player, or I'm just a rugby player, or whatnot. A role model is, for me, is someone that believes in what they believe in and aren't swayed any other way. And I get so annoyed, when you hear like, oh, Izzy should have been a better role model. Well, he's the greatest role model because he didn't waver. He lost his whole contract, all sponsors, everything. We lost, literally 99% of who we thought we were our friends. That is a role model to me, and that's what I want my children to model is you believe in Christ, you pay the price, and you show love, and you stand firm on it, and you smile. For me, that is a role model, not someone who's just does or goes by what the world says and the trends and follow that.
Which is kind of the irony, actually, because the unit which was in charge of all of this is called the Integrity Unit, and yet to me, you guys showed more integrity than anybody because you stayed true to your values and your core beliefs. It's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is, and it's we want to live a life of integrity, and God's always watching. At least at night we can sleep well. We've got peace in our hearts, and that's all that I care about is approval of God, and not conforming to the world or what people think, And I understand the pressures that come from the society and the culture, particularly for the younger generation. Nothing's too hard for God to do or to open and to do certain things. If you truly believe that God's the God of impossible, and that's the God that we serve,
Anything you want to say that we haven't discussed?
Thank you, really, for doing this. Yeah, thanks for standing. We watch you.
Yeah, we
I'm
do.
So emotional today. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we actually do, and we applaud you for the work that you're doing within the political realm and everything, and just making known that the things that we talk about here. It's just bringing awareness that there's truth, and there's a structure and how God created things, and family structure and relationship between a man and a woman. Those things are important, and as you said, I think you're being a light over there in New Zealand, and people that watch, that come across your channel and the things that you guys are doing in your platforms.
We wish we were there with you guys, and to all the donors as well that donated. I mean, I don't know whether they'll be at your forum, but
some will be.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Like you're always in our prayers. I would love to meet them in person, just to personally say thank you, because they didn't need to, and they did in such a really tough time in our. I say, it's funny how you see, would you go through it again? And I look like I'm not with all the times that I'm crying, but I would go through it again. Anyways, thank you.
To stand strong, that you got other brothers and sisters around the world that are with you and supporting you, and it's we're winners already, with Christ. So we've already won the battle. So that's the most important thing.